So now that we have our segues working properly, we want to be able to press the cancel or create account button inside of the create account viewcontroller.m file. So let's navigate over there. And when this occurs, we want to have the view dismiss. So even if the user just presses cancel, we want to go back to the previous screen. If the user presses create account, we're going to want to save some account information, but we're also going to want to dismiss the screen. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to use a delegate or a callback from cc create account viewcontroller.h. We're going to set up a protocol, and the cc sign in viewcontroller.mh file is going to conform to that protocol, and we're going to be able to pass information or call a method in cc sign in viewcontroller.m, and that's going to make our current view controller go away, or specifically the create account view controller go away. So how is that going to work? Let's go ahead and create a protocol here, and let's give this a name. So we're going to call it cc create account view controller delegate, and let's go ahead and add two methods here. So we're going to say void did cancel, and we can also say void did create account. So we now have two protocol methods. We know that the next step we need to do is create a property so that we'll be able to set the instance of cc create account view controller's delegate property equal to self in cc sign in view controller. So let's go ahead and create this property. Remember that we make it weak and non-atomic, and we make it weak because of retain cycles, and we'll talk more about that in the future. But for now, we want to remember anytime we declare this delegate property, we're always going to want to use weak every other time we've used strong. So remember that we used ID as the type, and then we said that our property conformed to the cc create account view controller delegate, and we called it delegate. Right? So this naming convention is consistent. And we could call this variable anything we wanted, but because it's a delegate, it makes sense to call it delegate. And people that are just looking at our header file will understand how this works. And it follows the general coding guidelines. So now that we have this delegate property and we have this protocol, we know that we can call the methods we defined in our protocol by using self.delegate and the method name in our protocol. So we can say self.delegate, and we can say did create account. And when we press our cancel button, we're going to say self.delegate, and we're going to say did cancel. So great. We now have two delegate methods, but we're not actually implementing the method did create account or did cancel yet. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to go to cc sign in viewcontroller.h, and we're going to import the cc create account viewcontroller.h file, and let's conform to this protocol. So we're going to say cc create account view controller delegate, and by conforming to this protocol or delegate, we know that we get access now to the methods we defined in the protocol in cc create account view controller.h. So we can implement those in our implementation file. So let's go to cc sign in view controller.m, and let's scroll to the bottom here. Let's add a pragma mark, and we're going to say pragma mark, and let's say this is cc create account view controller delegate. Now we have two methods, and we can go void did cancel. Let's go ahead and add some curly braces here, and we're going to say void did create account, and let's add some curly braces here. So when we press the cancel button, we want to dismiss the view controller. So we want to say self dismiss view controller, and it accepts a bool. If we want it animated, yeah, so we'll animate it. It looks a little bit nicer. And we're not going to do a completion block. We'll talk more about completion blocks in the future. And we're going to copy this code over into did create account as well. So now, regardless of whether or not I press cancel or did create account, we know that the view controller will dismiss, and I'll be able to see my sign in view controller again. Now there's one final step I need to do, and that's I need to set the delegate property so that cc create account view controller knows who to pass these messages to. Right? It doesn't currently know to pass it to the sign in view controller. Well, where do I do that? Let's go ahead and implement the method prepare for Segue. And we're going to say if, and we're going to say Segue dot destination view controller is kind of class, and we're going to say that this is going to be of CC create account view controller class. And let's use a double ampersand. And before we were doing an embedded if statement, but it's a little bit cleaner just to do it all in one line here. It was a little bit easier to see different sets of logic before, but we can kind of put them all in one. And what we're going to do is we're going to check the sender. So we know that the sender is going to be, and let's go ahead and add our parenthesis here and some curly braces. And what we'll say is CC create account view controller. We need an instance of it, so we'll say create account VC. VC is short for view controller. And we'll say that this variable CC or create account view controller is equal to my Segue dot destination view controller. And now I can set the delegate property of my CC create account view controller, so we can say create account view controller dot delegate is equal to self. So great, now my create account view controller knows where to pass messages. So let's go ahead and run our application and check to see if this works properly. So let's go ahead and press the create account button here. Now let's press cancel. We notice that the screen goes away or dismisses, and we press create account. We notice that it dismisses as well.